a democratic republic of sports. The Sportsocracy with ESPN Asheville hosts Tank Spencer and Jeremy Greene.
And welcome into the Sportsocracy. I'm Tank Spencer, Jeremy Greene alongside, and we are in the Wicked Weed studio, wickedweedbrewing.com. Drink different, and today's going to be a fun day because I'm going to try to piss Jeremy off, and we always like it when Jeremy gets pissed off.
I just showed up in a good mood, and everybody went, nope. He's too happy. He slept too much. He's not mad at the world. Not good.
You're not nearly cantankerous enough, so it feels like a day that we can push the buttons. So today's going to be fun. We're going to get into some NBA MVP talk. Because I'm not sure that Jeremy's least favorite player in the league has not, I'm not sure he hasn't made a case for himself as the MVP.
Oh, he's made a case. He's still not the right answer. But I'll at least listen to it now. If you'd said this to me a month ago, I'd have said, hey, how about you go fuck right off? Because that's stupid.
Yeah, it's NBA trade deadline day as well, so we'll give you what we're hearing, the latest on who could move today. A lot of players last night saying goodbye, or at least, you know, a lot of mixed emotions, not knowing what's going to happen today. Evan Fournier among them. Also, of course, the guy that I think most of the league is looking at Kyle Lowry to move.
I will be shocked if Kyle Lowry doesn't move today.
Yeah.
But we'll be reacting to all that live on ESPN Radio later today.
Exactly. The trade deadline coming up at 3 p.m., so we'll have the deals. If there are last-minute deals, we'll have those rolling through in the afternoon show on ESPN Asheville. Now, and also we'll get into the latest NFL news, players moving. My team's doing stuff. Your team's doing stuff. We both feel pretty good about how our off seasons have gone so far. And the Cleveland Browns, they continue to be my winners of the off season so far, and there's a chance that defense could get even better. So all of that.
And later I'll tell you a fun stat about Jadeveon Clowney and the reason that I don't care if he signs with the Cleveland Browns.
So all that coming your way here in the Wicked Weed studio over the next hour. First, let's talk some basketball from last night, because your 2021 NBA champion Denver Fuckets, they were not great last night.
Yeah, they got the crap beat out of them.
By the Toronto Raptors.
You know what? It was the last time the band was together. Toronto had graduation goggles. They realized that this is the last time that we'll see each other. And Sarah McLachlan started singing in the background. I will remember you.
Yeah, 135-111 was the final score in that one. And
will you remember me?
I'm going to say your Nuggets weren't able to cover that one.
Nope. No, they were not.
And then James Harden doesn't play for the Brooklyn Nets. And neither did Joe Harris, and neither did Kyrie Irving, and neither did Kevin Durant. And they got killed.
Yeah, it was a whole bunch of people that nope, didn't go well.
The Utah Jazz win by 30 last night. And that kind of brings me to my point about James Harden. It just, I don't know, for some reason it's starting to sink into me that he may actually be the MVP of the league this year.
He won't.
You don't think so?
He shouldn't be. I'm not going to say he won't. I'm going to say he shouldn't.
See, I don't know if that's correct, if he shouldn't be. Now, look, if I had a vote, I wouldn't vote for him because of the tank that he did at the beginning of the season in Houston. Like, to me, it's obvious he is a completely different player. Actually, he's a different player now with the Nets than he has ever been in his career.
Nope, this is back to, like, Thunder. This is supercharged Thunder James Harden.
Yes. Okay. I mean, I could see that. But my point is that he's never been this good. And he's never been this good of a teammate either. Sharing the basketball, scoring all of it, getting rebounds. I mean, he's all over the place and actually playing some defense for once.
I mean, this is the best he's ever been. Mm-hmm. However, he's not the MVP, and I don't think it's even debatable.
Okay. So why don't you think it's debatable?
Because there's somebody that should clearly be the MVP, and it's not even worth discussing to me.
And that player is?
Nikola Jokic.
Oh, Mr. Homer.
Never lost.
Mr. Homer.
Joker.
It's not me being a homer. He's in the top 8 in the NBA in every major statistical category.
Right.
He leads the league in PER by a lot.
Mm-hmm.
He leads the league in win shares by a lot. This is most valuable player. Not greatest player, not any of that other shit. Most valuable player. You take Nikola Jokic off the Nuggets, what happens?
They're awful.
They don't make the playoffs. With him, they're a contender to wind up in the finals again.
Right.
To me, that's not even debatable. If you take James Harden off the Nets, they still have Kyrie Irving when he decides he wants to play every once in a while, and Kevin Durant. That's still the second best team in the East.
Okay, Kevin Durant, who has only played, 19 games this year?
Is it the playoffs?
It's not the playoffs.
Oh, okay then.
No, it's not the playoffs.
Yeah, okay then.
But
I bet he plays in the playoffs.
But the thing that gets me about James Harden is that he's basically carrying this team right now. And then you saw what happened last night. He leaves the floor. He's the only guy left because Kyrie's on sabbatical again and KD's off injured. So
I will be honest with you, Kyrie Irving
this
is
team.
the only person that takes off more time than I do.
He makes way more money than you do. He can afford days off.
He does. I take Kyrie Irving level time off, and I make Joe Harris money.
Yeah.
Oh wait, he got paid. Shit. I make Nick Claxton money.
Alizé Johnson.
By the way, greatest name in sports.
Alizé Johnson.
Alizé Johnson, 100%.
He had to be the star last night for the Brooklyn Nets. And they got killed by 30 points. And to me, that shows that he is the most valuable player right now to his team in the league.
No, he's not. Because if Kevin Durant had played last night, that'd been fine. If
Right,
Kyrie Irving
but
had
that's
played
my
last
point
night.
is he's not there.
But why? Because they don't care. Because they're clearly the best team in the East. They can turn it on whenever the hell they want to. They don't care who they play because they know there's nobody outside of the Bucks and Sixers that can contend with them. So, of course, they're going to mail it in during the regular season.
Right.
Stands to reason. I think at some point we have lost what most valuable player means. I mean, it's in the fucking title. Most valuable player. If James Harden decided he wanted to go make beard oil tomorrow, the Nets are still the second best team in the East. It's not even debatable. Yeah, I mean, you name me the team with Irving and Durant that you could tell me is better than the Nets. It's not either the Bucks or the Sixers.
Right.
There's not one. I look, and to me, there's actually several more players that I would have ahead of James Harden. Giannis, if he decides he wants to go back to Greece and build statues, the only thing I know about Greece. That and their money at one point was worth less than toilet paper. The two things I know about Greece. The Bucks are middle of the road in the East. 6th seed in the East with Middleton and Drew Holiday.
Matthew Hoffman says in the comments, though, that, I mean, the season for the Nets turned on the James Harden deal. Now,
But you act like they were
but
bad.
there were,
You act like they were bad.
No, they weren't
bad. They were fine. They didn't defend anybody, but guess what? They don't defend anybody now.
But they were what, 14 games in the season? Something like that?
Something like that.
It was very early in the year, and KD and Kyrie you didn't even have Kyrie at the beginning of the season.
He was on another vacation.
Right, he was on his first vacation. So, I don't know. I mean, you could say that, but to me, it's like really early in the season. It's like the conspiracy theorists for the Super Bowl back in 2001. After 9/11 happened, the conspiracy theorists were like, oh, see, the NFL rigged it so the Patriots would win because they weren't doing anything before the break. That was like week 2.
Yeah.
It's so early in the season, you can't really say that. But, I mean, I will give Matthew Hoffman this. It does feel different. Because we all had these concerns about the Nets coming in.
I still have the same concerns.
How they were going to gel together. I think those concerns have been put to bed.
No, how many playoff games they won? Oh, okay.
Okay, but I mean, as far as
you have 4
working,
starters that are negative defenders. Okay, sweet. You can beat the Wizards and teams like that to death. Cool. When you play the Bucks, who defends Giannis? Because if it's Kevin Durant, he's going to get beat like a kettle drum.
Right.
No, those concerns are not put to. That's not been put to bed. It's not been put to anything.
I think the way that this James Harden is not the James Harden I expected to see with the Nets.
It's not the one I expected to see either. I just feel like people are giving him entirely too much credit.
But it's the other. What do you mean by too much credit? I mean, the guy's come in and he's been an MVP level player since he got there.
And he won an MVP in Houston. It's not like they traded for Goran Dragic and got Michael Jordan.
Well, no.
They knew what they were getting. He's just playing a different brand of basketball. And guess what? That was entirely predictable. Mm-hmm. And I understand there hasn't been, Durant hasn't been there. This is still a team that's loaded with shooters.
Right.
Loaded with shooters. So he doesn't have to do that. And he's playing for a coach he respects, which I never really felt like he respected D'Antoni. Mm-hmm. And here we are. And yes, I know D'Antoni's an assistant for the Nets. Spare me. Steve Nash's team is not even debatable.
Right. Again, I say if I had a vote, I wouldn't vote for him for MVP. But
who would you vote for? Out of sheer curiosity.
Who would I vote for MVP? I mean, it's probably LeBron James. But that's been the same answer for the last 15 years.
Yeah, he's not going to play for an extended period of time, so he's disqualified for me. It's Nikola Jokic.
That Joker.
The second greatest Joker of all time.
And it's not a bad pick. I mean, he would be maybe two. He would definitely be two on the list. I think Dame Lillard would be right behind them all.
God, dude, what is it with Dame Lillard? Dame Lillard's become the new James Harden.
Because Dame Lillard is Portland.
Who's half-assed at best.
Mm-hmm. And that's why he would be down on the list. Because to me, the MVP has to be from a winning team.
I agree with that.
That's just, I mean, aside from James Harden and Russell Westbrook, I think every other MVP in recent memory has come from the best team in the league.
Well, that's not true.
Really?
That's not true.
Okay.
That's not true.
The last two were Giannis, Harden with the Rockets before that, Westbrook with Oklahoma City. Then you had Curry twice.
By the way, that Oklahoma City team, when he won MVP, they were like 6th in the West.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Aside from James Harden and Russell Westbrook, I think the other MVPs have all come from the best teams in the league. I mean, I guess you go back to Derrick Rose in 2010 with the Bulls. And it's been LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Giannis. In the last 2 years, they were the best team in the regular season. You got to be on a winning team for me to really give you the MVP treatment, I guess. Now, we can talk about the most valuable player to the winningest teams in the NBA, but you're going to be down on the list if your team's not that good. I mean, averaging a triple-double like Russell Westbrook did was something that we hadn't seen since Oscar Robertson. So he took the whole NBA by storm. And everybody said, well, he's averaging a triple-double. We have to, because that's the ultimate stat. You talk about triple-doubles, I mean, your number one guy, or Nikola Jokic, he's got 12 triple-doubles this year.
Yep.
James Harden has 11 since joining the Brooklyn Nets.
I have no problem with Harden. I just think we get lost on this. It's the Mike Krzyzewski rule.
Okay.
How many Coach of the Years has he won? Not nearly as many as he should have.
Right. And this has been a conversation through LeBron James's whole career, though, is that they get tired of voting him for the MVP every year.
I was about to get angry because Patrick Holt said in the comments I got bleeped on an obscenity, and that is an injustice I shall not fucking stand for.
What?
Apparently, it didn't actually happen. I asked.
I was like,
maybe a smoke detector went off for who knows.
When did that become a thing?
If they start beeping me, we're gonna have a problem.
Yeah.
What are you doing over there, Brian? Brian's learned a new skill that we don't know about.
Indeed.
Maybe they're paying more attention to us, and this is a good thing.
Right. I'm a LeBron guy, so LeBron's always going to be high on my list. But I think James Harden is on my list as well. He's keeping that team. He's carrying that team right now, and keeping them at the top of the league. And I get it's the regular season, and we'll see what happens in crunch time, and we'll see how valuable he is when he comes back with Kevin Durant. I mean, he and Kevin Durant have only played 268 minutes together this year. That's it. So we really don't know what this is going to look like when all three of them get back. We have a small sample size, but not a whole lot. And remember, Kyrie was gone when James came in, and James and Kevin played great together that first game. And then for a couple of games after that. But it's hard to argue with a guy who is top 10 in the league in every major statistical category, and he's a 7-foot freak.
And he's 6th in the league in assists.
Right.
Think about what I just said.
Was it 27, 11 and a half, and 8.5?
Yeah.
Is what he averages this year.
That's pretty damn good.
Nikola Jokic, I just don't know that he won't get the treatment of his team's not one of the best in the league.
But they will be. They're 2 games behind the Lakers right now.
Right.
I got news for you. They're going to be ahead of them in a week.
Oh, yeah, because the Lakers' schedule coming up is pretty rough. They're going to lose a lot of games and fall in the standings. Now it's not going to matter once they get into the playoffs because everybody will be back and healthy, and who cares if they go in as
everything will be all hunky-dunky.
Right, who cares if the Lakers go in as the 4 seed or the 5 seed? They're still the best team in the league when they're all on the floor and they're all healthy. And the same can be said for the Brooklyn Nets over in the East.
I hope they play the Clippers in the first round. That would be like the greatest bit of fuckery in the history of time.
Now, if you'd asked me this question 2 weeks ago, I probably would have said Joel Embiid is my MVP. But the 2 to 3 weeks off, I guess he's just gotten shifted back in the pecking order.
That hurt, and I'll be honest with you. It's really hard for me to go, you're the MVP when you play with another All-Star.
Yeah.
That's difficult for me, and it's always been difficult for me. Unless you're just far and away better than the other 2. And that's so rare. Mm-hmm. And people would say, oh, that's what Harden's doing right now. Yeah, because the other 2 aren't playing. Mm-hmm. They will. When it matters, they will. Jokic, the best he's got is Jamal Murray, who I love, but is super inconsistent.
Right.
And is not the level of the other guys that we've been talking about here.
Right.
And I know everybody will say, oh, you're a homer because you're a Nuggets fan. Okay. I feel like I'm rather realistic about my teams.
Yeah.
I would say
especially ones that you just adopted 12 months ago.
Hey, fuck off. I love my Nuggets.
I'm glad he did, because they obviously reversed the curse on this.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
that's true. The Knicks are better now, so Brian's happy that you traded.
Brian, our resident Knicks fan, is really happy that I jumped off the Knicks bandwagon because I'm not allowed to have nice things.
James Harden, I think, has definitely got a case for MVP, but I don't necessarily believe that he is the guy who's going to win the award, because I think there will be people like me who go, yeah, he didn't really turn it on until he actually got to a team that he felt was competitive. I mean, hell, there was one night when he first came out in Houston, he scored like 7 points or something.
Alexander said Jokic is Tim Duncan 2.0. I've said that before.
He can shoot better than Duncan.
He can.
He can shoot
I'll be honest with you. Talent-wise, he actually might be better than Tim Duncan.
I mean, we've had this conversation
He
before.
can certainly do more things. Mm-hmm. Tim Duncan's one of the most technically, I mean, hell, they called him the big fundamental.
Right.
I mean, for the love of God, he's one of the best players of all time. But Jokic is one of those guys that he can just do anything. And I love him. He's mine.
Do you put him?
Can't have him.
Do you put him on par with Tim Duncan defensively?
Yes. So, and I'll tell you why. Because he's a 7 foot, 270-pound big guy that doesn't just guard big guys. Mm-hmm. He can guard the Giannis's and guys like that. Mm-hmm. Not saying it goes particularly well, just saying he can do it.
He can do it.
He's a 265-pound man that moves like he's much smaller. Mm-hmm. And I appreciate that.
We had the discussion a couple of weeks ago. Is he in the discussion of the best big man of all time? And definitely, if you talk most versatile big man of all time, he's definitely in that conversation.
Oh, here's a fun game. How old is Nikola Jokic?
20.
And I want you to think about, we're talking about, MVP level things. Is he the best big guy of all time?
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah.
27?
He's 26, and he turned 26 6 weeks ago.
Wow.
Yeah. He's pretty good.
He's
got a long time
obviously
to do
he's
a lot
gonna
of
have
shit
to,
in his league.
Right. I mean, obviously he's going to have to continue this through his career.
Oh, and by the way, I said he was 265. Yeah, he's not. He's 285. I was remembering back to before he bulked
pre-Rona?
up.
Is that
No, he bulked up.
Okay.
About 2 years ago, he decided, yeah, you know what? We're going to steer in the skid. And he just went hard in the paint.
Yeah.
And he became the shit nightmares are made of.
Well, what was it when they had the original break in the season last year? Like, he went home and then ended up shedding 40 pounds or 50 pounds or something like that.
Came back with determination.
So I had to ask, is that pre-Rona? Is that post-Rona? Is that is that like James Harden and his pre-Oklahoma or pre-Brooklyn fat suit that he was wearing? Or is it post-James Harden?
Say
Who
post
showed up?
one more time.
Post?
Say pre or post one more time.
Pre-post.
I think you've said those two words 11 times in the last 30 seconds.
Does that irritate
You sound like Mel Kiper talking to Todd McShay.
Todd.
Todd.
I think, though, the field right now is pretty wide open for MVP as far as the speculation goes, because there's so much left in the season and anything can happen. One injury.
A lot of things can change.
Oh, yeah.
But outside of Giannis, LeBron, who I'm afraid is going to miss too much time, Jokic, Harden, Joel Embiid, good luck. You're not Dame Lillard. Okay, I think I'll pass.
Let's look at the landscape, though, in the NBA. Like, because right now in the Eastern Conference, with the win last night over the Houston Rockets, the Charlotte Hornets are now 4 in the East.
Yep.
Is it possible that they can keep up and stay in this 1 to 5 range?
No. Not to me.
I was afraid you were going to say that.
Not to me. And a lot's going to matter about buyouts. You're going to see a lot of these guys like LaMarcus Aldridge. You know, he's going to wind up in Miami. I'm 99.9% sure of that. Could he still go to Portland? Yeah, but I don't look for it. Drummond is an interesting piece to me because I think he could swing a lot. You know, does he wind up with the Lakers, where I don't necessarily understand the fit when AD and LeBron come back?
Right.
Is he just chasing a ring? Or does he go somewhere that he could actually do some good? Because that's Charlotte. And it's been Charlotte the whole time. That's the place that I've said he could actually be an integral piece of what they do.
Andre Drummond?
Yeah.
Really?
I think he could be you're going to say it, he's a big-time scorer.
Yeah,
he can score
he is, but
aggressively around the basket. What's the biggest problem that the Hornets have right now?
scoring inside.
There you go.
Yeah.
They got P.J. Washington, who, you know, he's doing stuff.
But
Poor P.J.
But the Hornets play at the 5th fastest pace in the NBA, and that's what would concern me with Drummond. Is
Well, Drummond's not going to play. Drummond's not going to play 30 minutes a night, no matter where he goes.
Right.
Can he be an impact big in the first and last 6 minutes of each half? Yes. Yes, he can. He's going to affect things defensively, but I'll be honest with you, they're so bad down low right now, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Cody Zeller gets worked by really good defenders.
Yes,
he puts up numbers and he puts up stats. You know, P.J. Washington's just too damn small. He can't bang with guys down low.
Right.
So I would like somebody like Drummond in Charlotte. It doesn't necessarily have to be him. There are going to be a lot of guys on the buyout market.
Yeah. The Atlanta Hawks are 7th in the league right now. Are they gonna hang on to John Collins? Are they gonna get stuck with John Collins?
It's not a stuck with. They've had offers.
Okay.
They just haven't got what they wanted.
Okay.
But yes, I do believe they're going to hang on to him.
Okay.
It looks that way. And I'll tell you another guy that's been discussed a lot that apparently got graduation goggles yesterday is Aaron Gordon. Apparently in the last 24 hours, he has decided he does not know whether he wants to leave Orlando or not. Because he is an infuriating player, and apparently he's an infuriating person. I want to trade. Well, do I? Maybe I don't.
Yeah.
I do like Mickey Mouse. Oh, boy.
What did he say?
He hasn't said anything out loud.
Oh, okay.
Apparently he's told the front office and people in Orlando he's not sure he actually wants a trade.
Right.
So the problem with that is going to be, and I'll be honest with you, what I think happened is he found out the team most hot to trot for him was the Houston Rockets, and he went, nope, no.
Well, I don't know. According to Boston media, they're saying that the Celtics are all in.
I don't know where you're
Gordon.
seeing shit like this. I haven't heard that not one time from any reliable source.
Mark Murphy of the Boston Herald.
Well, you also have to remember that's Boston media who thinks they're in on everybody. The teams I've heard on the biggest team I've heard on Aaron Gordon is the Denver Nuggets, outside of Houston. Houston was offering the most, and that's not debatable.
Right.
They're trying to parlay some of the ridiculous number of picks they have into a future cornerstone piece, and Aaron Gordon is somebody they see that way. Mm-hmm. I don't, but I would love him in Denver as just another ancillary piece.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I said, a lot of the reports tied to the Celtics organization say that they're hot on him.
The Celtics have been hot on everybody, allegedly. How many trades have they made in the last 5 years? They've been the most talked about, most rumored team in the NBA, and I could literally not tell you one deal they've made that didn't involve draft picks in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
So just keep that under your hat.
And them getting
the Dallas Mavericks and the Boston Celtics are the most talked about active teams that don't do shit. Mm-hmm. Not saying they don't try. They just don't. Danny Ainge does not come off of commodities easily.
Right.
So the reason he's wound up taking draft picks that he didn't want to take. That's why Romeo Langford plays for the Boston Celtics.
Well, while we're talking about the Orlando Magic, Evan Fournier.
That is one that I adamantly believe he will get moved to.
Last night after the game, he was asked the question at the press conference, and he did his little goodbye thing. So he was saying, I've spent 7 years here. 7 years, a hell of a long time to stay in one place. I got married here. I have my kids here. I love this town, and who knows what's going to happen. But it felt like things are trending in that way, that Evan Fournier might be moving on. Do you have any idea who's in the market for him?
For Fournier?
Yeah.
Basically, any team that's going to be in the playoff hunt. The problem is going to be matching salaries because he's not he makes pretty decent money. Mm-hmm. I don't remember the number off the top of my head, but it's a decent amount. But he is expiring. Mm-hmm. So, that is something to keep under your hat.
Okay.
I think one of the problems that this trade deadline is going to have is that very few teams know they're sellers. Mm-hmm. I mean, how many teams do you definitively look at and go, well, they're out? No doubt about it.
Well, I mean, there's about, I don't know, 5 of them in the East because the East is so clouded.
Is there, though?
I mean, I'd draw the line at Cleveland. Okay, so 4.
Cleveland's 4 games out. Cleveland's 4 games behind Boston. Mm-hmm. Just think about that.
Oh, I get it, but we all know what this. We all.
No. You're looking at this the wrong way. It's not what we know. What we know doesn't matter. We're unbiased fans. You got to think about what they're trying to sell to the fan base. This is a team that had LeBron and Kyrie and was competing for championships and then has been a fucking disaster since.
Right.
You're 4 games outside of the playoffs and you start selling off pieces. How do you think that's going to go? JaVale McGee, yeah, you can parlay him for a second-round pick. Mm-hmm. But now if you do some grand sell-up, and I'm not saying they have the pieces, Kevin Love, who apparently, anybody seen him in a while?
No.
Does anybody know where Kevin Love is?
No.
I think if you find him, you'll find you a Sasquatch, because I think he's out there with him.
Well, hell, and he's making, what, 30? He's making $30 million.
It's a lot, and I'm going to be really honest with you.
Nobody's going to take him.
I can't remember if it was Darius Garland or Colin Sexton. It was one of the two. Somebody tweeted out something about Kevin Love stole $150 million from the Cavaliers, and one of the players on the team liked it.
I do remember that.
That's phenomenal. I love social media.
Yeah.
No, I would be that guy. If I was a player on one of these teams and there was some fat, lazy sack of shit like Kevin Love, I'd be liking them all. Mm-hmm. All of them. Kevin Love's a bum. Like, heart, retweet, hashtag.
I mean, I would think that, you don't have a lot of pieces to sell off in Cleveland.
No, but there are teams that do. I mean, the team I'm looking at is the Orlando Magic. Mm-hmm. That's the one team I look at and go, you need a reset bad. Mm-hmm. Because you have assembled talent, and it's hard to explain. Orlando has a lot of talent. It just doesn't fit well together.
Right.
And then I look at, Detroit. Detroit is god-awful. They're terrible, but they do have guys like Sekou Doumbouya. I'm just gonna call him by his last name.
Yeah,
that's a guy that early in his career I went, yeah, he's real good, and then where'd he go?
Yeah, they have. That's the only piece that I've heard about from Detroit that people are actually interested in is trying to get
Doumbouya?
Sadiq Bey.
Oh, they're not going to get Sadiq Bey.
No.
Sorry about your luck.
Well, I mean, Sacramento is trying to, like hell, to get rid of Marvin Bagley because they know they fucked that up and they should have taken Luka Doncic.
Hey, you know what could have prevented you from doing that? Hiring me in your front office, because I screamed that from every mountaintop. Don't do it.
Right. They've taken Marvin Bagley. It hasn't working out well, and so they are trying to find a new home for him. And they apparently called everybody, and everybody's telling them no. We don't want that.
I got to poop.
I
don't want to.
But they apparently reached out to Detroit and tried to get Sadiq Bey, and they laughed in their face.
Do I need to use the Kia reference again? Because I will.
Oh.
It'd be like that'd be like taking your Kia to a Maserati dealership. Like, I have this.
Yeah.
What will you give me for this? We'll give you $500 for it, because that's what the junkyard will give us when we crush it into a fucking paperweight.
They were turned down by the Pistons. They went to somebody else. I can't remember who it was that they went to, but they went to another team with a Marvin Bagley offer, and that team basically hung up on them. So I think that's the only piece worth having in Detroit, I guess, is what I'm trying to get at.
Well, they traded Daylon Wright to the Kings.
They did.
Because apparently the Kings...
They made one deal with
the Kings. haven't figured out that if you just keep shifting pieces around, it never gets better. Like, just don't do that.
Right.
You add Daylon Wright, who's making $8.5 million a year, and you add that... Who are the best two players on that team? It's not even debatable.
On Sacramento?
Yeah. De'Aaron Fox and Tyrese Halliburton.
Yes.
Not even worth talking about. You did one right thing, and you keep trying to fuck it up. They were the team that looked at Tyrese Halliburton and went, how are you still here? And that's the only good decision you've made in 4 years. Mm-hmm. It's probably longer than that, but.
I think there should be at least 4 sellers. Because, again, you don't have to have the appearance of a sell-off in Cleveland because you got pieces that you can't move. But what you can get value from, I think you're in a position where you should. Because, yes, you're 4 games away from Boston out of the 8 seed. And you're, 1 game out of the play-in thing for the 7-8 play-in tournament that we're going to have now. But still, you're not good, and you know it. And you know there's not really a chance that even if you do get into the play-in game, that you're not going to get trounced by Indiana. So at this point, you should be a seller for anything that you can sell.
I'll tell you another guy to watch out for today, Malcolm Brogdon.
Okay.
Don't be shocked if there's a move there. Indiana has realized we boo-boo kittied this real bad. Mm-hmm. And Brogdon is on it's not a terrible deal. And he's a very quality player.
Okay. Over in the Western Conference, I mean, everybody from Sacramento down should be sellers?
I
mean, 'cause you got the Rockets down there who are going to sell everything they can.
Well, the only thing they have that anybody wants is Victor Oladipo. Mm-hmm. I mean, people want Christian Wood, but they're not coming off that.
Yeah.
I mean, I like Christian Wood. I just don't see any path that they go, we're just going to completely demolish this team.
Right. And for some reason, I've heard nothing about Minnesota trying to do anything.
Because who would you want? Who that they have would you want?
Anthony Edwards would
They made a run at Aaron Gordon, and as soon as the Orlando Magic said Malik Beasley, they just went, got to wash my hair.
Well,
I'm a Florida State fan, and I don't understand what they see in Malik Beasley.
Yeah.
I mean, I like him. He's a good player, but they apparently hang up the phone anytime somebody says that name. Mm-hmm. Like, what did you think you were going to give up? You call on players and then grimace when somebody's... It's like they gave away their pick, which is probably going to be best lottery odds in the draft.
Right.
Good God, if that winds up in Golden State. If I'm Golden State, this is like prop swap to me. I have Loyola Chicago to win the national title. Well, it's $250,000 if I win. I'll take $15,000 right now. I would trade that Minnesota pick immediately.
Right.
Because it's a lottery ticket. Literally.
Literally a lottery.
Literally a lottery ticket.
Is it unprotected?
No, top 3 protected.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
See, for me,
That's the
I'm like,
problem.
I don't see any way because you're going to have a lot of balls in that dobber, and I just don't see any way that that's not going to bounce your way.
I don't know if I want to take the risk on that. They will have, they'll have Houston and Detroit and Orlando to compete with, but yeah, there's a good chance that winds up in the top 3.
100%.
Yeah, absolutely. But over in the West, you think those are the only sellers?
I mean, there's going to be several teams that do. It's just, I think it's hard for me to predict.
Yeah. Well, we know who needs to add a piece.
There's a lot of teams that need to add a piece.
So obviously, the Lakers are going to be out looking for a piece.
Yeah, but I know what you can add. I've heard don't sleep on them for Kyle Lowry. Well, for the love of Jesus, what are you going to give up?
Yeah.
I mean, you got to make the salaries match. Mm-hmm. They're up against the hard cap. I don't see any way that's going to happen. The Lakers are buyout candidate.
Yep.
They're looking at buyout guys. Mm-hmm. The Clippers need a point guard desperately, but they don't seem to have a burning urge to do that. Why, I have absolutely no idea.
Right.
You're playing Reggie Jackson legitimate minutes, and that is a sentence that needs absolutely no explanation whatsoever. Reggie Jackson is one of the most hashtag Team Gets Mine players of all time. Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, when he retires, he will go into the hashtag Team Gets Mine Hall of Fame. Big difference between the Pro Basketball Hall of Fame, which he will not be going into.
Right. The Clippers, haven't heard a lot of scuttlebutt about them.
Well, that's who I just said. Do they need to add a piece? 100%.
Right.
And I'll be honest with you, I look at the West right now, and every team needs to add a piece except one. And it's the team that I keep hearing is going to add a piece. Mm-hmm. And it's the Utah Jazz. Utah will be a candidate. They will be a J.J. Redick buyer if he gets bought out, and it sounds like he's going to. Mm-hmm. I know everybody says he goes to Brooklyn, and he very well may because he lives in New York.
Right.
Very well may. They can't sign everybody. They only have so many roster spots. Mm-hmm. That's another thing to watch for. Watch these teams that sell off pieces, like a Timofey Luwawu-Cabarrot for the Nets. Mm-hmm. Watch them trade him for nothing. And literally a top 55 protected second-round pick. And it has one purpose. I need a roster spot really bad. Because they want to add Drummond and Redick and JaVale McGee and
everybody.
You don't have the roster spots for that.
Right.
I mean, you have to come up with – you got to come up somewhere for them to go.
Mm-hmm. Who should be who should be the biggest buyer right now?
The biggest buyer? Mm-hmm. I would say the East teams that need to separate themselves. There's 3 teams in the East, which means the 4 and 5 spots are wide ass open. Mm-hmm. So I look at the Miami Heat. I like Kyle Lowry better with the Heat than I do with the Sixers, and it's not all that debate. It's not close to me.
Wojnarowski this morning saying that they are apparently still in talks for Kyle Lowry, but apparently the deal keeps getting hung up because Toronto has now asked for Duncan Robinson and been told no.
You know, I'll believe that when I see it. I will believe it at 3 o'clock when that doesn't happen. Mm-hmm. Because what I've heard is they've been willing to parlay Goran Dragic and Kendrick Nunn into Kyle Lowry. And if you're Toronto and you get Kendrick Nunn back in that deal, you should do it. Mm-hmm. Because Kyle Lowry is going to walk for nothing and he's 35 years old. And you're not a contender by any stretch of the imagination.
Right.
I look at Toronto and go, Toronto has young pieces that they could be competitive in a year.
Oh, yeah.
And you have a ready-made replacement point guard on your team already, and you're paying him big boy money. His name's Fred VanVleet. I'm going to say something about Toronto, and people are going to tell me I'm out of my mind.
Okay.
Watch them trade Kyle Lowry and make the playoffs. Watch it. Just remember I said it. Mm-hmm. Watch them trade Kyle Lowry. Fred VanVleet becomes the point guard, and watch them make the playoffs. I'm not saying they're going to make noise. I'm just saying right now they're Orlando only talented. I shouldn't have said that way. Orlando's talented, but these pieces at least kind of fit together.
They work. Yeah.
They have just a couple things that I feel like are pulling them in the wrong direction. And I'm not saying Kyle Lowry's bad. I think streamlining this would make this team infinitely better. Chris Boucher needs to be playing minutes, and he's not. I understand big guys kill him. I get it.
The Toronto Raptors do have a young core.
Yeah.
That they can add to, and I don't think you're too far out on that, especially since, you're going to be in the playoff. You think they missed or they are going to be so good that they won't be in the play-in tournament? That they'll jump up to that 7 spot?
Maybe.
Or the 6 spot, excuse me?
I mean, you got to realize from the 4 with the Hornets, you have a series of teams that are either horribly underperforming
Okay.
or they're overachieving.
Yes.
The Hawks are not this good. They're not the 7th best team in the East. They're not. Now, could they do something that fortifies them as that? Yes. The Celtics are not the 8th team in the East. They're closer to the 4. I would say when this all shakes out, the 4-5 game, guess who it is? Same team it's been the last 2 years, the Celtics and the Heat.
Yep.
I understand where they are now. I don't care. There's a game separating all of these teams. Mm-hmm. So you asked me who should be the biggest buyer. Every team 4 to 11 in the East.
In the East.
Except the Raptors, who should sell off Kyle Lowry and watch the pieces they have make the playoffs for them.
And the Bulls?
I would say the Bulls should be a buyer.
Nice.
Well, the Bulls are another one like Orlando. You have all these pieces, and they all need a fresh start somewhere the fuck else. Mm-hmm. Wendell Carter and Lauri Markkanen. That's 2 guys I look at and go, I would like you way better if you did not play for the Bulls. Yeah. I love the talent on Markkanen, and I still think there are teams that would value him, maybe not necessarily what he's worth, but would still give you a hell of a package. And would streamline the roster.
Okay. Any other names to look out for at the NBA trade deadline?
The Dallas Mavericks are trying their damnedest to do everything in the fucking world. The Dallas Mavericks are on every player that has even been spoken. I think Mark Cuban has bugs in team front offices to hear any guy they're willing to trade. Mm-hmm. Because he knows we need something. What it is, I don't really know. But they do have an asset in Dwight Powell that makes it really easy to move money around. Right. That's the problem a lot of these teams have, is that you have really highly paid guys and then men's salary guys. And it makes it impossible to make deals. Dallas doesn't have that problem.
Yeah. Apparently the Sixers and the Heat, according to one of the latest reports that came out about an hour ago, Sixers and the Heat are the top 2 in the chase for Kyle Lowry. Who, by the way, we'd say, happy birthday, Kyle. He turns 35 today. And this is the guy that everybody's hot on at the trade deadline. 35-year-old point guard. He is kind of a timeless wonder. Do you think that he's overvalued, Kyle Lowry?
It depends on the team. With Philadelphia, yes. Everybody overvalues it because he's from Philadelphia. I don't like the fit with him and Ben Simmons. Now, Miami, I love it. Mm-hmm. Because, Goran Dragic, look at how good they were for a period with Goran Dragic until everybody in the league figured it out.
Yeah.
Kyle Lowry's Goran Dragic on steroids. So, yeah, I would like that. I would like to have a point guard leading your young core that's a vet guy that's won a title. I think that's a phenomenal fit. Mm-hmm. Philly, I don't get that at all.
All right, the NFL is always, it is the king. And free agency has been fun to follow. Yesterday, my team did some stuff I'm kind of happy about. I'm saddest that Ron George wasn't around for when they announced that the Buccaneers had re-signed Ndamukong Suh to a 1-year, $10 million deal, because that was the guy that Ronnie really wanted back. And, hey, the entire band's getting back together as they've restructured Donovan Smith as well. He played really well at the end of the season. He's not worth breaking any records for. Yesterday, one of the stats about the Donovan Smith deal was that they had restructured now, which will guarantee him the most guaranteed money over a 4-year deal in NBA or in NFL history. That he's going to have like $57 million spread out over 4 years.
That was for a tackle, by the way.
Or for a tackle. That's yes.
Let's say I can name 3 quarterbacks off the top of my head that have made more money than that guaranteed.
Sorry, I thought I had said that. I think it's assumed when you're talking guaranteed money for a tackle. But I mean, again, he did play really well down the stretch of the season, and you know, it's not about the future years. We don't care about those anymore.
Nope,
it's all about
down the road.
Right.
Screw it.
It's all about being competitive now.
The NFL uses salary cap the way or treats the salary cap the way I treat hangovers. We'll let that be tomorrow's problem.
Right. It has been the biggest, I think, one of the biggest unveilings of this free agency era, or of this free agency period, that contracts what they're written up to be don't really matter. Right.
Yeah, they are what they are.
Right. With all of the voidable years and everything. It's brought a new phrase to my lexicon, at least. Now, your team's doing stuff as well.
I love Joe Douglas. Joe Douglas, I need you to call me because I want us to be best friends. I'll build bunk beds in my bedroom. We'll have so much more room for activities. I love you so much.
You guys got Tevin Coleman yesterday.
Yep, that's not even the one that I care about the most.
No.
I like the fact he knows the offense and he's a running back with a living, breathing pulse. Mm-hmm. Plus, you signed him for a bag of peanuts, which I'm a big fan of. It's the other signing they had yesterday that I'm really fond of.
Vinny Curry signs for $1 million?
Yep. $1.105 million. You want me to tell you a fun story about Vinny Curry?
Yeah.
His sack rate's higher than Jadeveon Clowney's.
Really?
He has more sack. He has half a sack more than Jadeveon Clowney in his career and has played 1,000 less snaps. Mm-hmm. And people say, "Oh, but he doesn't go up against the run." I 100% understand that. Jadeveon Clowney doesn't do it as much as you think he does. Mm-hmm. He's been used as a situational pass rusher more than you think.
The old backfield, though. Do you think are they going to turn this over to Tevin, or is this definite that they are going to draft a running back?
Tevin.
First?
It'll be Tevin Coleman and a rookie, and I'm really, 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 Joe, hoping it's Kenny Gainwell.
You'll wait till the second round for that?
Round number 33?
He's not a second round pick; he's a third round pick.
Oh, excuse me.
I like it a lot.
There's a lot of running back talent in this draft. And,
a lot.
Yeah, and I think. So you think what are you thinking for the second first round pick then?
J.C. Horn. That's the drop dead spot for J.C. Horn. I don't necessarily think he gets that far.
Right.
Joe Douglas has shown. Here's what he's trying to do, and it's what smart GMs do. He's trying to not desperately need anything. Mm-hmm. I have a guy. If no running back is there that he likes the value on, cool, I'll roll with Tevin Coleman. Mm-hmm. I'll take LaMichael Piron, who I obviously liked last year, and we'll roll with that. That's what good GMs do. Shitty GMs do what, I don't know, let's go Jacksonville is doing. Well, we have to draft a guy or we're not going to have a player there.
Right.
Yep.
So you're saying it's not the ideal situation?
No.
Okay.
I like what Stephen Tao said. Jadeveon Clowney's still living off the glory from one hit in college. He's also one of the most recruited players of all time.
Yes.
He lives more off high school film than anybody I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. His name is way better than he is.
Yes. Yeah. That hit.
Now that being said, if he wound up in Cleveland where he visited yesterday, I would like it a little better because you got Myles Garrett on the other side, and now you're not the focal point of shit. He was the only pass rusher on the team for the Titans last year. Mm-hmm. He needs to be on a team that has actual legitimate talent.
Which leads me to the next discussion of Jadeveon Clowney was in Cleveland yesterday.
Yep.
And you put Jadeveon Clowney on the other side of Myles Garrett, and
he's still not a great pass rusher, but I think he would be a nice piece.
Is he not, though?
He's not. Hell no. God, don't make me do this. We've done this so many times.
What?
In the NFL, Jadeveon Clowney's pass rush rate's outside of the top 50 since he came in the NFL. Mm-hmm. So, no, he's not a good pass rusher.
Okay. I've always felt like, he is a guy that he is a big disruptor. The sack stats aren't there. But I feel like he's, and I'm not saying he's worth, the $20 million that he thought he was going to get last year and all that. We all said.
He's not worth the 10 he got from the Titans last year.
And if Cleveland can add him to that defense on a decent deal, I think that makes them even scarier. And yes, I get that he's living off his name from that one hit in the bowl game. Yes, we were all drunk on that. And we expected that was going to happen, down in and down out in the NFL, and that hasn't happened. But I think that while he is a bit of an overrated player, he's still a friggin' good.
A bit?
Yeah.
He is the most massively underrated player I've ever seen.
Overrated.
Is that not what I just said?
You said under.
Overrated.
Yeah, overrated.
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 Yeah. He's never had double-digit sacks in his career. Mm-hmm. Ever.
Oh,
Not
I know.
one time.
I know.
Half of his sacks in his life came in a 2-year window. Mm-hmm. Playing outside linebacker for the Texans in that 3-4.
Yep.
I think he's got all the talent in the world.
Right.
It should tell you everything you need to know
has,
that this will be his 4th team in 4 years.
Yes, absolutely. But what I'm saying is when he has that much talent around him on the defensive side of the ball, I won't be shocked if he has, his first really good season, I guess.
I will. First of all, it won't be his first really good season. He's had 2 really good seasons.
Right.
And then he's bounced around like a nomad. Mm-hmm. There's a reason for that. There's a reason that a team that had the worst pass rush in the NFL has had 0 interest in bringing him back. Mm-hmm. The Tennessee Titans had the worst pass rush in the NFL. They had this guy in the building, and they haven't so much as even called.
Because they didn't really sniff the quarterback last year. And I get that is to your point. I understand, and I'm with you. But I still believe the talent is there. And it kind of speaks to what Cleveland has done so far. They've got a lot of big names on this team that makes them really talented. Between bringing in Austin Hooper last year and Odell and Jarvis, and you gotta surround this team with as much talent as possible. And I feel like Jadeveon Clowney might be, he's definitely the biggest name left in free agency. He was in Cleveland yesterday for a visit. Now, granted, he'd left and didn't sign a contract with him, but that doesn't necessarily mean he won't.
I just think he's overrated. Mm-hmm. Nothing more drastic than that. I just think he's grossly overrated.
Right. At least we know that one thing won't change. James White's back with the New England Patriots. Wow, that's another solid. Wait a minute. Old James White. Back with the New England Patriots for another year. There was a lot of the talk that he was gonna go join Tom Brady down in Tampa Bay. That didn't come to fruition. Apparently, Tampa's still trying to talk to Leonard Fournette. Still don't know how that's gonna work, but it doesn't matter. The Jacksonville Jaguars are set at quarterback. I don't think they don't need to draft Trevor Lawrence.
Nope, I think they're good. They'll go with C.J. Beathard.
Oh, Beathard's back in town, baby.
C.J. Beathard.
The Jacksonville Jaguars continue just to add dudes to that team, and you have all of this money in free agency. You had, $70 million that they had, 60-something $million, and they've spent like 25 of it. They still have more money than everybody else, I think, by a large stretch.
Currently, the Jaguars have $42 million, which is 3 more than the Colts.
Okay.
About 12 more than the Broncos, and about 12 more than the New York Jets. Da-da-da, da-da-da.
But there you go. The Jacksonville Jaguars are they're filling slots at this point, and I felt like they should be actual, making waves, and they haven't done that yet. And I don't know that they're going to. And Urban Meyer's still upset about the fact that he has to actually pay players.
I don't like this free agency thing.
Yeah.
I can't just slide a McDonald's bag under a bus seat and all of a sudden all the best talent shows up with me.
Right.
These guys actually have options.
You mean I have to actually can do more convincing to guys to come in? Well, what is that? What is that pitch like? Come play for me. I have no NFL experience. And look at all the
We have Charlie Strong. Hey, you remember that guy that almost typhooned the Texas program? He's here. He's doing stuff. Just hanging out. Come to Jacksonville, where we once had the Super Bowl and didn't have enough fucking hotel rooms for all the media people. We put boats in the harbor, and that's where people had to sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's super hot.
Jacksonville. We do stuff. That should be the tagline for Jacksonville. You know, you see those like the Myrtle Beach commercials or Charleston, like visit myrtlebeach.com.
Oh, yeah.
Jacksonville should be Jacksonville, Florida. At least we're not fucking Cleveland.
Patrick Holt says Washington may be signing Adam Humphries. He's on a visit.
Oh, that'd be good. Oh, that'd be good. I would like that a lot.
You think he's a great piece?
I like Adam. I've always
that?
liked Adam Humphries.
He is a great slot receiver. Look, he played for my team, so I understand what he is.
Yeah, but that was back when you didn't have a quarterback. So
well, this is true. I mean, but if we could have given him Tom Brady, come on.
That'd be like saying he's a really great race car driver, and you're discrediting him because he couldn't drive a scooter. It would make a whole lot of sense.
Right.
I like Adam Humphries a lot. I like Washington a lot at this point. Mm-hmm. I heard somebody the other day say they now have a top 10 roster in the league, and I couldn't disagree. I couldn't say no.
Top 10 roster in the league? I mean, to me, that's pushing it, but they did re-sign Cam Sims, so he'll be back again to play some
All right, you said
little roles.
All right, you said that's pushing it. Name 10 teams in the league that are better.
10 teams in the league that are better than the Washington football team?
Roster-wise. I'll go division by division. AFC East, only one better is the Bills. AFC North, the only one better is the Browns. The Ravens are close. AFC South, it's the Colts. AFC West, it's only the Chiefs. NFC East, there's not one. NFC North, it's the Packers. NFC South, it's the Buccaneers. NFC West is 3 of the 4, so they would put them at 12.
Okay. Yeah, I guess
And I'm talking about that's the only ones I would even listen to.
Right.
And I counted the Ravens, by the way.
Yeah.
Just because I know somebody would go, the Ravens are better. Okay.
All right.
That puts them at 12.
I guess they're close. It just seems like a lofty shift, but that's what a competent quarterback will do for you, and adding one of the best utility knives in all of football in Curtis Samuel.
Armchair Commentary asked me in the comments, are there going to be 3 quarterbacks in the top 3, or is Mel Kiper drunk? Mel Kiper is Gary Busey drunk. Not happening.
He's generating likes. He's generating hits.
No, and that's not what Kiper does, because Kiper doesn't understand that shit. Mel Kiper might be the only person in sports media that's less tech-savvy than you are.
Really?
I listened to his radio show for a long time. Dude doesn't understand shit about technology, and I think it's hilarious. No, I mean, right now there are a lot of people that believe that. What they don't understand is we're going to fall into the same this is going to happen the same way it happened last year.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of teams that want to trade down and not a lot of teams that are willing to trade up. Mm-hmm. And so they're going to call their bluff. Because all right, so I think we've come to realize the Jets are not taking a quarterback at 2. If they were, they would have dealt Darnold by now. Because now you've cost yourself what he could actually be worth.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to be said for them trading the pick, but there's some positive to keeping that pick as well.
Well, and here's the thing. I agree with what Mel said on Get Up yesterday. There is one quarterback out there that could have been had that's better than every quarterback in this draft not named Trevor Lawrence, and his name's Sam Darnold. Mm-hmm. Now you have a legitimate big boy. You have a big boy head coach. That's what Rob Salah is, not old googly eyes.
Right.
So, I love where we sit. The Jets might be the most improved team in the NFL next year, and I'm super here for it.
I couldn't get much worse.
You're not wrong, but I think they could be a borderline playoff team.
Borderline. I'll give you borderline.
Uh-huh. Oh, yes.
9-7.
Yeah.
10-6.
Well, coming from 2-14, that's pretty fucking good.
Yeah, I mean, easily going to be the biggest turnaround. Probably the biggest turnaround in franchise history.
It very well could be.
Mm-hmm. I don't hate what the Jets have done. I still just believe that the Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins are so much better, and I think they're still markedly better
than the
Jets.
The Dolphins aren't. They're not markedly better. Mm-hmm. Well, they're not. Just flat out. You have Tua Tagovailoa as your quarterback. Mm-hmm. Cool. You can put all the weapons around him you want to. I don't think it's going to matter.
You're so quick to give up on him.
Okay, what stat have I told you about quarterback classes more times than I can count? For every 3, 2 are really good and 1's a bust every time.
Yep.
You think it's going to be Herbert or Burrow? Because I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. Historically, 2 out of every 3 quarterbacks, at the very least, are serviceable starters in the NFL. I didn't see shit out of Tua Tagovailoa last year that makes me think he will be.
Yeah.
Patrick Holt said Mel Kiper looks like Count Chocula. You're not wrong.
But Count Chocula, if he married, or if you married him with Gary Oldman in the Dracula movie, Bram Stoker's Dracula, because of the hair.
I don't know. I don't know what that name is you just said.
Bram Stoker's Dracula.
I don't know who it is.
Okay. Anywho, it's Google it. I'll do the same thing you do to me. Google it. Sam Darnold, though, I mean, there are a lot of people that are under the impression that he can't be a franchise quarterback because he's been in the league already for 3 years and hasn't done it. But it all comes back to coaching. It all comes back to the scheme that he was in, the horrible weapons that he had. I give him a lot of a pass for that. But I'm still not sure after 1 year how much better he is than Tua.
Oh, he's drastically better than Tua. Talent-wise. 100%. Drastically better.
All right. I feel like Tua's capable of more.
I don't. I think you're out of your mind on that. In the last 5 years, Sam Darnold's the third highest rated quarterback prospect that I've had.
Yeah.
And one of them's in this draft.
Yeah.
The other one's the number 1 pick last year. The only one that's even been close to those 3 is Josh Allen. And he was right behind Darnold. Other than that, it's been the 4 of them and way back there.
All right. But somebody could move up to try to get a quarterback, and I think that number 2 pick that the Jets have is going to be very, very valuable.
Well, and that's the thing is, it's getting harder and harder to figure out who that team's going to be.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid that this gets to a point of where we got last year, which is, Miami and Miami and the Chargers both looked at Detroit and said, "Oh, you want to trade down for Okudah? Oh, what are you going to do? Take him ahead of us?
Right.
We dare you." And they called their bluff, and they wound up having to take Okudah at 3. And I could easily see a path that's what teams do with the Jets this year. We don't have to trade up to 2. We know you're not going to take the guy. You've held on to Darnold. Everything has said Rob Saleh really wants him to be there, and I would wager that Joe Douglas probably made some concessions about roster decisions when they hired this guy. So I can see a team going, "Do it. You won't."
Yeah.
And then they take Kyle Pitts at 2.
I believe it's going to be one. I believe it's going to be one of the 3 teams between 7, 8, and 9, and I really don't think it's going to be Detroit. I'm actually between Carolina and Denver. I think one of
Denver's
those 2
a team
will
to
feel
watch
the
out
pressure.
for. The Bears are a team to watch out for.
I think one of Carolina or Denver will feel the pressure and basically cave.
If you told me I had to pick a team right now, it's the Chicago Bears. And here's why I say that. Because Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy could give a fuck less about draft picks next year. Because if they don't figure this out, they're not be the ones making them.
True. I get it. But you're going to have to give up a lot in addition.
A lot.
To move from 20 all the way up to 2.
Yeah. Did you see what they were willing to give up for Russell Wilson? Oh, okay.
Same
they're
thing.
They're not super scared of that.
God almighty. It's a completely different conversation for me, though, because it's Russell Wilson and Zach Wilson.
The second pick is worth more than Russell Wilson right now. You get 5 years of not having to pay it.
See, and that's the thing that I can't get down on is,
That's the reason you sit
paying
right there and
for-
you
Of
don't work
course,
for a
of course.
front office.
Of course.
Because they all know that.
But I feel
there's
the
a
same
reason
way in
that
every sport.
And I need you to understand something. Look at the trade value chart. Have you ever seen the trade value chart?
No.
You've never seen the draft pick trade value chart?
No.
You need to Google that shit because it's very important.
Okay.
The first pick in the draft is worth 3,000 points. The second pick's worth 2,600. The third one's worth 2,200. Do you know what that means? That means trading up from 3 to 1 would cost you like the 8th pick in the draft. That's how important top 3 picks are. That's why you can't miss on them. You
Right.
definitively have to know that they're right. Because in this salary cap league, you have to have that cheap talent. And that cheap high-end talent, once they're on a roster, they don't tend to go anywhere.
Yeah.
At least not until they're out of their prime in their early 30s.
I guess I'm just thinking of it in the terms of the Chicago Bears and Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace of, I get it. You don't care. You struck out on Russell Wilson. I get why you made that play first, though, because I want to go with the known commodity.
They offered 3 ones, a 3, Khalil Mack, and Akeem Hicks. So you're telling me if the Jets come to him and say, hey, we'll give you the second pick for your next 5 ones, who says no? Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace could give a fuck less.
Yeah.
Don't care. If you fall in love with Zach Wilson and that's your guy and you think that's going to be what trends this franchise in the right direction, they don't fire you, you do it.
Yeah. Okay.
Vic Fangio feels the same way. Now, the problem in Denver is that you got a GM that does not feel that way and a head coach that does. This is the reason that I always a lot of teams get killed for forcing coaches on GMs or forcing GMs on coaches. Here's why you don't do that. Because now you got a coach and a GM that could get at the same time, and they might cripple the franchise just to keep their jobs.
Right.
And if I'm Joe Douglas, I'd just call and go, how stupid do you want to get?
You
I get stupid,
motherfucker.
You want to get stupid? Let's get stupid. How stupid do you want to get?
So Chicago moving up 20, yeah, it would take a great haul for them to do so, but there again, you got to take a wild swing when your job's on the line. I get it. Denver, I feel like, is in a position that they want to move on. Drew Lock is not their answer.
Just remember, George Payton had nothing to do with Drew Lock.
Right.
Always remember that.
Right.
It's very important to remember. When you have a GM that had nothing to do with a quarterback that fell like a rock, he was on a team that needed a quarterback at that time point too.
Even from there, is it 2 ones?
From 9?
Yeah.
It's 2 ones and then some.
And then some to move up to 2.
Oh, it would take this year's 1, next year's, probably this year's 2, next year's 2.
That's a lot. But if they don't have other teams that are willing to meet that price, then you just hang on to it and take Kyle Pitts.
Well, that's what happens in the top 5. Is that teams know what these picks are worth.
Right.
And so if you're willing to come down on price, then yeah, there might be a team that's willing to jump up there, but then you'll get killed. Let's say the Jets trade down to 9 with Denver, and Zach Wilson becomes the second coming of Deshaun Watson or Russell Wilson, or he's a top 5 quarterback in the league, and you got the 9th pick and 2 twos. And then Sam Darnold flops, and 2 years from now you're looking for a quarterback. Fired. Because then the fan base is going, well, we had the opportunity to take one, and you passed up on it.
Yep.
So, you have to mitigate risk. That's how these things happen. That's why, Detroit's the prime example. They wanted to take Okudah at 6. They called the Chargers 11,000 times. And the Chargers basically finally got to a point. Tom Telesco finally said, do it.
Right.
I dare you. And then they weren't going to do it. There's no ammo in the gun.
Right. There's no major influencer for Detroit to make a big move like this. Maybe they should. Yeah, to try to move up to 2. But at this point,
Don't undervalue that.
There is so much, but there's so much leeway that the new administration has there. They don't have to sell the farm on the future to be able to get up.
Depends on
now.
if you fall in love with a guy. This is what I can't seem to pound in your head. You fall in love with a guy, you do whatever it takes to go get him.
Well, yeah.
Period. I don't care what it costs. What did it cost the Kansas City Chiefs to go get Pat Mahomes?
Don't remember.
You ain't got a fucking clue. You know why? Because nobody gives a shit.
Doesn't
Because
matter.
Andy Reid fell in love with a guy and has won a Super Bowl and been to another because of it. What it costs does not matter for the team getting the guy if you're in love with him. Now, the team giving up on him, that certainly matters. Because you look at the Bills, and if they didn't have think about if the Bills didn't have Josh Allen and they had traded the pick that became Pat Mahomes.
Right.
You would crush Brandon Beane every day for that. You don't. Why? Because he took Josh Allen the year before.
Right. That's a good point. There's a lot on the line for New York in this as well. I get that. But I think the haul would be too great to say no to whatever anybody could come up with.
He took Josh Allen the year after. I said the year before. The year after.
The year after. Okay. Any other teams do you think can move up? Chicago from 20? Washington? You think Washington's even
Nope.
considering that?
No, I don't.
don't either.
One of their press people told Rich Cimini, the Jets reporter, could Washington still do this even after signing Ryan Fitzpatrick? Don't waste your time.
Maybe the
San
Giants,
Francisco's
maybe the
the
Giants should move up, but they're not going to.
The ones to look at are San Francisco, Denver, Carolina, Detroit. That's about it. I could see Atlanta doing it, but other than that, and Chicago. That's the one I forgot.
New England. New England's going to sit and wait for whoever they get.
Yeah, New England calls the Jets and says we want to trade up to two. Cool. Every pick until Bill Belichick dies.
Yeah.
That's what it'll take.
Yeah, that's their problem is that both of the teams that they could get up there to get a quarterback with are in their division.
Yeah,
and
sorry,
both
Bill.
of them go, mm-mm.
You're stuck with Cam there, pudding pants.
I can't wait. This is one of the most anticipated drafts for me.
Our draft profiles start next week. We'll be doing team-by-team breakdowns. Starting on Monday, they'll be released as about every 6 hours on our YouTube channel.
Nice.
If you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, this will be a hell of a time to do it because there is a lot of content coming out.
We're getting ready.
Oh, we have our first deal.
Uh-oh. Any NBA?
Denver's acquiring JaVale McGee for Isaiah Hartenstein and 2 future protected second-round picks. Thank you, Cloud Guerrero, for telling me that because I had actually already closed Twitter. JaVale McGee, 2021 NBA champion Denver Nuggets.
Hot.
Fortifying their roster. Now we go get Aaron Gordon, and we're the team to beat in the West.
Yeah. We're going to be following who all can move today in the NBA. Victor Oladipo, Kyle Lowry,
If
Lonzo
anything
Ball.
happens before about 2:30, we will go live from right here to discuss. And that's got to be a big trade. You know, you want to hear my analysis on JaVale McGee to Denver? He's a dude. He does stuff. And they gave up nothing.
Lonzo Ball, that'd be a big deal.
Yeah. Any of those, we will go live right here. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Click the beer in the bottom right-hand corner.
Yep.
That subscribes you to the channel automatically, and you'll be able to see every time we go live.
You are in the Sportsocracy. I'm Tank Spencer. He's Jeremy Greene. We are live from the Wicked Weed studio, wickedweedbrewing.com. Drink different. Don't forget to check us out this afternoon on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400 in the Asheville area, and of course, everywhere on the iHeartRadio app, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. on ESPN Asheville. The Sports Tank with Jeremy Greene. We will see you this afternoon.
We'll see you. Before that, I have a funny feeling.
Stay tuned, like, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.